So this is the ETF2L lower bracket final. Ascent in faint, Ascent in blue, faint in red. Only watched like a little bit of it live yesterday when it was happening, but couldn't watch too much. So I know roughly how it went, but I really don't know how that was gonna came to be properly. This is, I believe, faint map pick. If it isn't, I'd be surprised. But this should by all means be faint map pick. So let's see. We have again Curtis snapping to mid. I watched a bit of scrims before the match went live. I still had time for that, and they did that quite a bit. So I'm not surprised they carried this into the match, especially against a team like Feint. That is pretty expected, at least from me. But they do the sniper mid. They have Amp just running on top, Elakur and Scylla mostly being back. Jack is just trying to do something there. Connor, not Connor, Kuno got sniped early. Taken by surprise by that. And this puts just generally weird position into Feint's hand they need to play around. However, with Drag's jump to get damage on the right side going aggressive on the sniper mid, it creates a huge opening for Callback to do stuff, and they just don't have the numbers anymore to deny that safety while trying to still play aggressive with it. Which is where this all falls apart a little bit. Callback even gets a corner at the end of that, while Seeds is still alive at the moment. Still jumps in, this is the air shot, Seeds surfs into the pack. Amps is still there. Barely doesn't get that. Seeds needs another pack, but he has, so he can afford not healing people right now. And yeah, Ascent wanted to just play the sniper mid a little bit too aggressive, I think. Amps needed to be more passive. As a scout on a sniper mid, especially in process, you just have to be. Callback had too much freedom. And the moment they got first pick and some damage onto Eames, they just wanted to chase too much. And that's like... that's what I've seen in the scrim before this as well, where they want to play the sniper mid, but not quite as passive as it usually happens. It's just that, especially with a team like Feint against them, it would make so much more sense to just play it a bit slower. And they already had the pick, they just needed to control the pace a bit more. But they rushed it, meaning Feint will have this advantage at the last right now. After capping up second from right side lobby. Sorix is still in lobby as well. Everybody's just coming in from the same side here. Everybody's just bunching up right side, which I'm never really a huge fan of. On process last, on advantage last pushes. Whoa, that was weird. Anyway, they do it either way. What's Sorix? That's Sorix. So yeah, they all bunch up right side. And it just creates this weird situation where Ascent can just rotate freely away from them. The sentry goes down with the Evo, which is alright. But now it just creates this normal standard standoff where it's just nothing there that creates play without having to cross the point, take a lot of damage. Corbic is trying and might catch at least Connor, which would create another opportunity, and he seems to be getting it. So that's the silver lining here, but overall, if something were to be on the left side, even if it doesn't like fully commit and it's just distracting, it would help so much here. Like even just a soldier spamming from rollout or whatever would already be an improvement here. Because in order to make anything happen, the way they wanted to play this, they just ask themselves to take damage. And it's not by any means the best approach to do that. So a 6-man right side push is just not a great idea, I think. In a sense, sure they still lose a few players because they also go a bit aggressive into that, but it makes sense on their perspective. They had the better fight on their hands, so they were able to take at least a little bit of a risk. And oh, I see crits. Never mind. I almost missed that. Comes in from lobby. Connor dodges that. Ams doesn't. Just walks straight onto it. But Eames doesn't dead because he's still busy trying to get another one out. So Ams is getting super lucky there, but it wouldn't have meant tremendously much because it would have been one pick on disadvantage then. Now it's no pick on disadvantage. It's arguably worse, and -1 on disadvantage, so things are getting worse and worse. The crits just got stuffed. People took so much damage on Feint. Ascent did the right thing there. So yeah, like I said before, with them pushing aggressively after the Evo last time already as well, they just really want to kill things on like after the last push. As long as the hold stands, that is, to get out of last easier. This time, They got enough to feel comfortable enough to at least try. They don't want to be stuck on last forever. Catch, Sox is Uber, Amps is going deep. Not necessarily chasing anymore as much as just cutting out the situation, establishing space so the rest of the team can come back in a little bit easier, not having to threaten any forces onto Connor. And just genuinely playing momentum that they have well. And Ascent back in the swing of things. After the mid-fight they played better for the past few minutes. Sure, it's been only 4. So it doesn't mean nearly as much. But still. Mild advantage for Seeds, but Connor used quickly. And given the circumstances they were in, having used faster is probably not even the worst idea. Because now this advantage is barely usable for Seeds and Co. And they don't even go for it. Wanna extend it again. With the teams we have here, I'm not surprised. Ascent's like a little bit of a faster team, like slightly above average. Like from a 1 to 10 scale, I'd give them like a 7. Ooh, like hard knights, almost like survives though, which is nice. But on the other hand, Feint is like a 3 maybe. And Ascent is smart enough to not try to do stupid things against a team that's this passive. Even if they would like to. They know their limits. Anyway, Drag somehow gets a kill on Kuno with that. Despite beating out the Seeds, which is better than nothing. But it also might just allow Kuno to go Sniper. Scouts are really aggressive. They want to use space here, but they don't have much going. Still comes forward to that as well. And this is where they get impatient now. They just try a lot at the same time. But like stuff like this is so much easier when you're last. It's so much harder to get pushed back again. Now they just have to live with 2 down, including a scout, which makes life for Connor a lot harder. Just as I say, that force camps in already by callback. And that's what Feint wants right now. They just want them to cover, commit a bit. Bedu finds a decent opening onto Seeds, doesn't find the shots quickly enough. Was a nice idea by Feint, by Ascent even. Just play as aggressive as they did there. But Feint was ready for it. Anyway, Feint just trying to take this safely. Have people lead, find kills first. Kuno traded with Drag forward at the end. But they still have this advantage and it's still 1 down each, so it's pretty even situations in terms of numbers still. In fact, they have the better spawner either. Up in the corner, Seeds so close to that. Nobody called that whatsoever, and then he still dies to it. That was entirely on like everybody collectively there on Feint. Like nobody thought about the possibility of a sticky trap in the corner. They just all wanted to take the fight. And they were super slow about it as well. Which means the advantage was slowly dwindling away anyway. Now it's just a matter of getting away or getting a force. And either of those 2 options like going too well, they lose callback. So 7 minutes have been played. Pretty slow games so far. Every time something does happen, the transitions are really fast. Like both teams execute of what they get fast. Ascent more so than Feint. But Feint doesn't want to let much happen. Either way, this happens. Connor's just completely alone trying to rotate there, and nobody saw Amarok in the corner. Hiding in PC. Again, just collective mistake. And by Ascent, but they got 3 picks here. And for all intents and purposes, you need to play this more aggressive. Especially now that the point is open. Like you either want Seeds and get Connor out, or a lot of point pressure and just win around by stacking. They're playing this pretty passive until now, where they start finally playing the point. drag grabs around. Going for seeds here, especially now with the spawns coming in, it should be the priority. And Connor shouldn't commit in here, but he wants to have the beam on people that he should probably just arrow, which is more help when he goes back anyway. Let alone the fact that he misses and Korbeck is just in front of him. And suddenly the fact that they try to kill seeds, which hasn't even happened yet because he's stopping really well, just doesn't work at all. They either needed to be like way more aggressive with this at the beginning, which I think is the worst of the two options, or more passive in general later on, and just go for seeds and get Connor out. And it looked like they timed both of those things like the other way around. They were like passive at the beginning when there was less people on the field than they had up in first place, and went more aggressive once the spawns came in, and got Connor in like the worst spot possible. Leading to just the worst possible outcome of decent opportunity at least. Not like amazing, but it could have decently worked. Pain's riding momentum, gets mid, threatens to snipe out, but it couldn't hit a lasting shot. Means they get second for free as well. Take the time to cap. Still have advantage. Given the fact that the flank player comes in late anyway, it doesn't really make much of a difference if they didn't just push in with advantage and let the scout cap first. Because you don't start playing the point that early on process last anyway. So it's really confusing why they, to me at least, why they would let this go to an even stalemate. Instead of just pushing with 5 while the point is being capped. They just made it harder for themselves by playing passive, I think. And that's probably going to be reflective in the stats as well. Quite a lot, so like with the advantage gone. So I don't know, it's going to be looking weird. Also, this happens. Hi Connor. I never told you get mod. Fuck off. I don't know. I mean, you played this game, you should know what happened. Just to say, you know, not much yet. Well, I mean, there was there was 2 really bad deaths you had. Let's be honest. One on the last push and one... Well, then no, never mind, the other one wasn't a death, the other one was just a force. 1 second, never mind. So this is where a whole lot more of nothing happens, I think, if I remember correctly. It is just sniping, holding back. Second by drag. You do 1 second when no one says anything. Yeah, Amarok was just hiding in PC. And everybody went forward and you just on your own have to cross like this entire area here. He just stands here and fucking shoots you twice. But the counter sniper's out, but Feint is playing at the pace of like snail. And then there's another cringe one. Oh boy, looking forward to it. Anyway, drag a spy. Let's see what's not gonna happen next year. Anyway, look at this, they're just so scared. They're playing so scared this entire game. Just slowly crawling into lobby. Drag's still behind. Sticks all over the place. But I don't care, they get the NG. Which means now this sentry has to fall, otherwise this is pointless. And it does, Eeps gets backstabbed by Drag, so Demo's down. I mean, no one cleared those sticks because no one went there in the first place, they just didn't need to care about that to begin with. They get the force in with that. That's good. They lose 2 for it. At the same time though, Seeds and Kunu go forward, which is questionable. Because that really didn't need to happen. And now they get forced. And he only had the sniper with him to begin with, so that was just really weird. They could have gotten such a good Uber out of that. If they just pressed S instead of W while the force came in. I guess the idea was to just like use a bit later and save like Amarok's or Korbeck's ever it was that jumped actually live after the force, but he had to go too deep for that to be a great idea. Also, I like that streaky trap. It's by no means invisible, but it's like subtle enough to miss. Especially with the pack there as well. And people needing to take the pack at some point. More than likely. So yeah. Feint, like for as slow as they did it, they played it at least, you know, also safe enough to get the picks they got. But then they just throw it all away. I just missed playing once. Drake is sacking. Well, not really. He's just trying to sack. So it's at like 200 damage meat shots there. And the pack almost saved him. So they get one kill here. Is Goon sniping from Shutter? Yeah, he is. Ooh, never mind. Still just peeks that. That's half a pick. Well, 1.5. Strack's already back on field. Someone's not standing in the dispenser. So that's a force, despite the gun being up. Everybody just hoped the gun would be enough. See, this is what should have happened last time. But Amps has some on-the-fly thinking here. Kurdo gets completely destroyed. Because you can never see people? Yeah, that's why you need to be like inside something. Gives you a little bit more time. Anyway, they pop in, get the gun, get the medic. Still have some picks to go with. Second is backcapped by Amps right now, which is honestly both stupid but working, so never mind that. And he has crits. I don't know how he got behind unnoticed during any of that. But he abused the opening perfectly. That came from 2 people dying and then backing off, but nobody backed off PC. Or checked that at any point, or realized the backup is going on quickly enough. Somehow Seeds is not out anywhere near fast enough. Which is the second time this happened now. So while it's definitely a meme play by Amps, it's about as much as he could do in that situation anyway. Like, if that didn't work, I couldn't fault him for trying. Because what else are you gonna try to do there? That was such a shit situation to be in. And the fact that nobody reacted in time saved the round there so much. Alright, so again trying to take this forward. Cowback is still dead, so they try to take this forward with it. But to chase a lot of kills here as well. Kurdo gets punched short. No, he doesn't. Okay. Could have gone a lot worse. But overall, just played off the one pick. Taking it to the logical conclusion, which is mid. Small ad, not anything significant. Checking your corner. Everybody's trying to start taking space, but Feint also doesn't want to give this up. This is bad. Let's see how bad it is. Alright, everybody wants to start taking space. Kurdo goes down for it pretty early. Get Amarok in return. Kobik is wrapping around. Nobody check that in the meantime. People take damage. Syl and Drag are kind of weak. To the point where it's just hands down the worst situation for Ascent to be in. Kobik gets spotted because of that, which is just kind of unfortunately timed. But he also has weak people in front of him. A really nice jump. You suffer just far enough away that nobody could shoot you and choke. This is such a lucky coincidence in like every situation for Ascent. Like the fact that Soul just took that much damage early enough that they needed to back out the moment Corbank was standing where he was, so they saw him going back. Just all worked out perfectly. Anyway, people are mostly healed up again. So it's Amps, but he has probably a pack to go back with, so Drag just decides, let's sack. Let's hope they're like stupid right now. Doesn't happen, Drag goes down. Amps is still weak, didn't take the pack. I don't know if it was there or not. Doesn't matter. So this goes bad. But people are already like halfway in. So now you need to decide, do you want to take this or do you not want to take this? And for the love of God, I can't see which decision is being made here. It's like 3 people go back, but Amps and Connor go forward, but then they don't. And then the damage comes in, and this is just such a sad force where Ellard could dies as well. Now you're 2 down after being forced. Yeah, I can see why you would like think that to happen, but if the call doesn't come, that like what the plan here is, then it made sense that it goes this badly. Because this definitely looked like nobody knew what was supposed to happen. Am's not bank calling anymore. Yet in situations like that, that's an issue. If he leads stuff and then doesn't call what he's actually trying to do, then yeah. Like I can understand. Well, it's like reasonable enough for him not to main call all the time, but if he doesn't call stuff when he's leading like fights like this, then it's just bound to go bad. And that definitely just looked exactly like what you're describing. Anyway, Feint tries to take this forward. Straight Uber from 1 onto the gun, lots of sticks on the corner there, so nobody can do the drop down to safety, still just jumps. Eames is playing really far forward. Takes much of damage for it, gets Alako forward though. And you just need to have good focus fire right now, but Korberg is trying to jump a scout on heals. But everybody else is busy trying to survive against Amps and Sil, and Drag now spawning on Pyro. At least Sorix comes in time to get Connor with that, so that's a medic down. But everything else is just going to shit. Because everybody is trying to do different things. Did you die in 98? I didn't even look. That's sad, if you did. That's really sad. But they beefed either way. Because that was just such a lack of good focus fire, I find. The best thing that happened was that Korvik or Amarok? One of the soldiers jumping forward onto Kredu and then Zorik sneaking up from the other side to get seeds. Not seeds, Connor even. So you. But like none of the rest of the fight was playing around that fact. They were just still taking a whole different fight. In which also nobody had focus fire at all. So it was like one nice play and like 3 people shooting 3 other people. But like individually and not together. Anyway. Uber comes in again, part 2. This time just straight for the point. Yunus is standing on the Draco's hiding somewhere in the corner and nobody's playing the flank here at all. Which is not the first time I said this in Feint's last pushes. Like they just all coming from the same side, and Korvik is just really slow. And the late players on an Uber isn't bad. But they need to come from a sensible spot and not this late, as Korvik just did. So this isn't going anywhere. Well, I mean, it's not completely terrible, but, you know, it's not good either. At least they survive. And technically Seeds got advantage out of this, but he already had that to begin with. And much like the first time Ascent tried to get out of last successfully, again they're just playing pretty quick off of a few deaths on Feint. Try to get some more of that. Chase people still takes a bit too much damage going forward. And while you desperately want to get out of last in situations like this, you need to realize when it's better to go bad. But also not too far back. I like that lobby is being contested here a bit. With a little bit of like impatience by Feint trying to take lobby too freely, this could have led to much more than just Sorix dying. So the contesting lobby there made perfect sense in my eyes. So 20 minutes are already played. And so far, Ascent did more stupid mistakes. And Feint did more just like really like fundamental mistakes. Just like the structure of these last pushes is just not good at all. And this is, I'm pretty sure, this was their pick, right? You might know that. I'm too lazy to check the match page right now, but I think this should be their pick, right? Yeah. Okay, I thought so. They really like Process, and you guys are good on Gully, so it would have made sense. Well, that didn't work. Amps tried. Second by callback. The next one to dare to make a move. Amps again? Yeah, he just tries again. Well, what are you gonna do on like an even situation on last right now? Like, you're not the one in position to do something here. Unless you're like a round down or something, in which case you really have to. But right now, it makes perfect sense to do nothing here. Or like, nothing in quotation marks. Because at least Amps is trying to sack, but Drag died, so it's pretty badly timed right now. And unless he finds like the best spot of Seeds being completely on his own, he should just wait until Drag spawns. Because otherwise it's just bad numbers. Still scary, because if Kuno gets a pick now, during any of that, would have been even worse than would have been anyway. Because then they would start to make moves and you only have 3 on last. Anyway, it doesn't come to the worst situation, so the Amps is still trying to do something, but then he bumps Amarok, or Amarok accidentally bumps him by just jumping up. And Seed sees it. But they know there's a spy, and there we go. Amps down. He almost dies to that. That would have been so sad. It wouldn't have meant like anything at all. For the most part, but still. Unless you're like really keen to push off a demo pick while one down. Somehow Drag beefs that. Oh, this is so sad. At least he still dies. Anyway, Amps picks up the sniper rifle. Has so much time on the door. Sadly can't convert off of anything more than I think just a body shot. And yeah, this is, like I said before, entirely on Feint right now. And yeah, you have the time to like, play slow, look for picks carefully, but you know, if you take your time like this, it needs to work sooner or later. Might be a clutch play soon. I want to see that. But a whole lot more of nothing. And the round timer is super low right now as well. So this is actually, as much as it's technically the better situation for Feint. Nice standing in the dispenser now. As much as it's technically the better situation for Feint, for as slow as they're playing, the time is ticking so much against them right now that it's actually really detrimental. And with 3 minutes left, I can't blame anyone for not pushing out of Nasty. Why would you? Unless they like severely mess up. You have no reason to do so. Just the right choice to make here. Anyway, a bit of feeding on both sides. Lobby. Wait, where did Amps die? Because none of those 3 people is Amps. Oh no, yeah, oh, I'm completely blind. Of course he went in. I even looked at that. Okay, sneaky sticky trap again. Oh yeah, they wasted another minute doing absolutely nothing here. And that's the difference between Feint and Ascent. Oh, Feint and Ascent, Feint and 7. If 7 takes the time to formulate the play, like most of the time the play works, and even if it doesn't, they have a plan B. Even if that's not the greatest one, they at least don't lose much off of it. Feint right now is struggling to get a plan A going. Lots of spam, gets the NG, which is nice. Oh, there you go, holding you Uber. And no HP, watch rockets come flying your way. He desperately wants to kill there, and sentry gun is just in the way. They're just really running out of the deals right now. Which is even worse considering. Considering that they had like an ad at one point. And just opted to cap the point with 6 people instead of capping with 1 and pushing with 5. On like 70 ad or something. Choosing to go into the stalemate. And if you choose to go into a stalemate like this, you need an answer for it. Otherwise you just gimp yourself really hard. And for now it clearly wasn't worth taking this route at all. How exact when you were in spawn? Yeah, they're just getting desperate right now. They kinda have to be. At this point it doesn't even matter if they fail. As long as there's enough time, or not enough time on the point for Ascent to cap second. And even that's actually better. In some ways at least. Anyway, Amok dies, the push comes in. Gun doesn't go down. And that's honestly all you want in this exchange. Aside from, you know, starting the exchange, having counter use. Like, there was just 2 things they needed now, which is the medic to use and the sentry to go down. If they want to have any chance of a repush, but... That's the reason, very apparently, for why that wasn't the plan A. For them to go for the exchange, because they just didn't know what to do. And yeah, goes back to mid again. And I know people always complain about playing slow, but in this case it was entirely on feint. To like make anything happen here and not getting anything done in their place. Or just taking forever to like get any kills at all and then not being able to play with them. And you can't blame Ascent in this case. Anyway, callback dies immediately. I don't even know where. But he does. Little time left, so you know any round any round scored right now would mean like a whole lot. Especially with how much Ascent was able to hold last against a pretty struggling feint. So they're just go aggressive on feint, trying to desperately get Connor. Doesn't happen. They all go aggressive for that matter, and we don't see the credit sniper mid again. Which technically worked for like the first bit, but then everybody else just decided not to play around it anymore. So yeah, they get the kills off of it, but with the aggressive play that feint did start here, they take position away, and also get people at least a little bit weak. So despite 2 down, it's not the worst, but they need a kill, otherwise this is just still bad in the long run. So, try to deny the soldiers with the scouts on the high ground, so it's wrapped around as well. Ascent is just rotating a bit. But like I said, if nothing happens, then sooner or later Ascent can just overpower them. So despite losing 2 firsts, this was still the better start for feint, by all means. They just needed quick focus fire on something, and either Sill or Drag were the best picks. Still Moss, I think, because he was way further in while everybody else was rotating. Alok Sax, because that's what he does. Right. Weird attempt to just throw in people and damage for that matter for choke. So why not? But nobody's really like committing to anything. They got people forced back, which is a start. Korbek jumps in there. Gets 2 rockets off while everybody's distracting, so eventually the play works. This is reminding me a bit of like 7 on Galilas, where they also do like a bunch of shit at the same time. But it's a little bit more cohesive to see what the actual idea is. Because, you know, it's the last point. In this case, just everybody also goes forward, tries to force some damage, force people back. Hope the scouts are distracted while the soldier jumps. Still worked, so, you know, that happened, but then nothing dies to the Uber. In fact, Zoix dies in the Uber. Because Amps and Still are going behind together. Which is like the Froyo approach. Almost. However, the chase back is not going too hot. Matt dies. They are too slow on it in general. Can you confirm or deny that the call for the backup happened late? Or that you even knew they were going for it? Because on paper that could have definitely gone better. That was the plan, okay. That's unfortunate then. Because the moment that started, that could have easily won the game. So yeah, quick look at the golden cap. I say quick, I know it took a while. Which is... what is it, this one, yeah? Do something on flank. That's one way to do it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, so it's minus 1080, 1480 to 0, so that's an accurate scoreline. New mid, new chances, new callback and drag clash on top of the point. Max goes right, still goes high. Out of Feint just spreading out a bit. New up top, Zoix as well, trying to take high ground. Amps is going weak already. It's a good shot on himself. Still is just going direct. Drag just merely distracting for that, maybe getting a bit of support damage on the way onto Eames. It's a bunch of damage, actually gets the kill, which is a pretty big rocket. This is such a good setup for Drag right now. He beeves 2 rockets. This is so sad. He had that in front of him and he just dies for it in the end. Anyway. Good is doing a good job denying Soldier 1, Soldier 2. It's forward as well. Amps takes a bunch of damage, but at least he dies. And it's a mid-win at the end of the day. Unless like Zorix goes like full Pastor. That was like so close to being just a roll into last year. And Zorix dies late. Amarok also goes forward while that happens, doesn't see the sticky trap, which is incredibly badly timed right now. Plays are being made, space is being taken, damage thrown over the point to just get people back. You don't want to use here if you can help it. And if you can help it as well, you want them to use. Amps brute forces his way in. Mac is lucky if he gets out, and he will. Not bothering waiting for Amps, just play this forward already. Knowing that even if you have to use here, it's not bad. You get second, you'll have advantage if they use out of last, so you get back to the same situation anyway, even if you have to use. Anyway, callback is behind, doing the same thing we've seen before, except not on NG. Gun goes down before they have to use, which is about the best start to a last push we've seen this entire game. Amps is spawning so he can take care of the soldier on the point. Point is starting to get played. Uber gets used, but nobody is committing to something yet. Ella could jump, still jump, so they do it. But they need point pressure with that at the same time. Lots and lots of damage, but the reaction on everything there was just a bit too slow. Like, Uber came left, nothing was on the point yet. They needed to chase so far. Feint had eternities to react to that and rotate away. And everything that happened on the right side was just also happening way too late, and all they got was seeds, which would have mattered if not for Kuno chasing the map there. So something needed to stop them right. And it just needed to be like a split up between Alex and Sil. Because they both chase the same things, walking away from them. Either that or earlier point play, so you have much more predictable like early pressure onto the point while your Uber's still on, so you don't lose 3 people trying to play the point after Uber's gone. Like, it happened here. Anyway, I don't know what just happened, but Feint's just going deep, and everybody dies for it. And that's just a huge throw.
Alert. The control point is being captured.
That was really sad to watch. Anyway, Feint's back. Second with Ad. He's building a gun so I can some food. Let's see if we'll see a good last push now. Gun goes down to Lieber early. Heavy takes 50. Like 30 more plus DK, so he's back to normal HP. Still takes a while. Somebody needs to like get tanked into the heavy more so than just a soldier jumping in a heavy once the Evo fades even. Like all of this heavy play needed to be faster and still didn't need to die for that at all. Eventually they get it, but you know. I was just so much hesitance on like trying to contest the heavy up top. So still not terrible. You got the gun, you got in here, but Seeds have 70, so anything that needs to happen fast. I hate that nothing's on the left. Comic is taking care of the top. Alright, Alaka tries playing the point, Kurdu comes with him as well. And that eventually causes enough distraction, and Drag just rotates left anyway. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, imagine he would have just started from left to begin with. Anyway, it still works well enough. That's like almost the kind of last push I want to see. Like point play, people go from top and from front over to the other side where the other team's holding. Where the point play comes in, Demo has sticks on point, scouts capping. And whichever way the other team on the defending side wants to contest that from, they're gonna take a bunch of damage trying to do so. If they go on the point, there's sticks and the scout. If they go try to just spam the point from where they were to begin with, there's the scout and the soldier. And potentially pipes flying away as well. Alright, now we go to Gully, which will be a much different story. And I kind of predicted that as well. It's a shame I wasn't casting, because otherwise my predictions for this game would have been fucking insane. Because I knew Process is going to be a fucking snooze fest. There was no way around it with Feint playing. I just would have expected them to, you know, be a little bit more proactive of the opportunities they actually made themselves get into. Even if it was few to begin with. And it would have been a much different game with that, but they weren't, so props to Ascent for having good holds, I guess. Alright, Draxil goes straight in. Look at that. Amok is getting so fucked by the fact that Drag is in the sky. And Syl is just jumping directly at him. Bait's coup forward as well. Making him the easy target for Drag and Alakur. This is some nice little like focus fire now between the three of them. Scouts are just falling back. Korvik tries to make something happen from another point, but Syl is there. Can just deal damage. And this bit is just over. Alakur overextends a bit. But that's affordable. Because it's not like Seeds was a free kill to begin with. He might still be. Because that serve was not good enough. And they were really slow to leave there. So yeah, just complete opposite already. And just getting slightly picked apart on the way out. Korvik desperately tries. But it should not be. But yeah, really good focus fire on a mid-fight, I really like that. And it's not like that was anything that you could 100% like predetermine before you go for it. That's probably a rough idea of that they want to bait people, but you still need to react according to where people are. That's a good bit of beta. Anyway, bust through the shutter door. Pyro takes a bunch of time, but there was no time for a gun. So you just need a bunch of damage to something else here. Drag on the point can't deal with the heavy. That's an early death, but he got a good amount of cap time, so it's not for nothing. And again, as long as you do a decent bit of damage after you get in, it's fine. But Amps goes down as well, trying to contest Eames, which is really unfortunate because everybody was busy with the soldier. He probably thought everybody could just help him out with Eames. So, who was that denied? Amarok? Yeah, must have been Amarok, because Kovic just dies now. Did a good amount of work there by just jumping people on Shudder after the Pyro died. That was really good by him. Amarok tries to get some more damage with that. Doesn't get too much. Zoix and Heavy is cleaning up of the damage from both of them. And this is a situation where you should have left like a good second ago. And Mr. Condor here is gonna be lucky if he survives that, but he won't. Yeah, that was really good by Amarok and the Pyro. To just deny like pretty much all of the Eber. And play into Amps' expectations to just be able to get the demo pick for free with his team. And just die for it instead. That was pretty decent. They want to get out of last here, but everybody on... well, not everybody, but Ascent is just pressing W right now. Still is getting 2 kills out of nowhere. And they still have the ad. Spy gets spotted. I don't know what the idea was with Drag. Maybe he sacked at the same time to distract for Amps. But he got spotted. Both got spotted before they wanted to. Anyway, that, you can call that a double sack if you want to. Either way, it didn't work. Korbek tries to go into choke. Get. See, this is weird now, cause, like, yeah, getting the kill onto the medic here would be nice. But I think you should prioritize not having to use yourself. And I completely didn't see where Eames died, but he did. Either way, it wouldn't have been good. Now it's just really bad. Because the force is really easy right now. And scouts on the point just get completely overwhelmed. And Siege has to decide if he wants to save his Uber or save lives. And he kind of tries to do both, but you can't do both. So one dies and then he has to use anyway. Yeah, Eames died on Shudder. And then the bounce back after the Uber that just couldn't do anything to begin with. It's just completely picking them apart. Just really sketchy decisions all around by Feint. And just high desperation to get out of last. Uber comes in, struggles to find anything because things are just jumping around. Things are going into spawn, so Feint's doing the best attempt to just rotate away from danger. Doesn't matter, targets get changed, just get the demo man. There's no gun, so there's no need to not do that, I guess. Korbek tries to help out with that. Should at best trade, will actually just go down. That's 2 with the Uber effectively. Which is really good. And 3 people are left, while Amarok is over where he is right now in lobby. Also pretty much a free pick, if not just not doing anything. So that's just 3 people dead effectively. People need to contest a point at this point, and that's just 3 damage. Heavy is too slow to decide what he can do, and there we go. Solid last push. Nothing hugely outstanding, just nice reaction to the fact that everything was trying to get away from them. But knowing that that demo was on the point, he was the easiest target. And not being surprised by like Amarok being behind Eva helped. Because that did a lot of work last time already. And you drag on the point, Korbek as well, still just flying around like last time. It's a bit more of a slower start. Probably comes some drop down. Elaku saw it coming, whoops, didn't want to fast forward there. Anyway, still committed as well, dies. So it's not like we missed much, but they dealt a good amount of damage between the 2 blue soldiers here. But this is much like the 1 mid on process. I say the 1 mid on process, we only had 2 mids on process. Where Feint got a lot of damage, but lost too early. And needed to get something quickly. But Ascent is actually doing it. Eames got spammed heavily, Amps cleans it up, going aggressive. They don't let them take space slowly. Amps drop down right now and is pretty weak to begin with. The damage wise is still sketchy, but it makes sense that they pretty much had to go for this if they wanted to win this. It's either that, or they just leave and preserve Connor's life safely. Amps is going past, I can see it.
The control point is being
That's
contested.
the consolation prize because Sorix is prime position to get the kill. He won't though. One of the EM. And drag as well.
Time has been added.
Save that was barely. So Fane technically won, but realistically they didn't, let's be honest. And yeah, there we go. Drag and callback effectively trade. I don't know if they actually did. Oh yeah, they did. Never mind.
Time has been added.
And Ascent wants to just take as much free space as possible,
Alert. The control point is being captured.
which should lead to second. Eames dies as well, which is huge. Even with it going to even right now, the demo pick is just really big.
Been added.
Makes point really vulnerable. Sorix is under the point already, trying to deny people coming in there in the first place. It doesn't even need to be like a proper last push already, it just needs to be like pressure onto the point. Sorix goes down, they know things will come to the point, which makes position so much more predictable in how they need to play this right now. Seeds doesn't want to let people die, but the damage will come in and they need to contest the point. And this is just like such a good position to be in right now.
The control point is being contested.
Drag comes up on the point, lots of spam. They still try to spam seeds instead of the point right now, which I think is the wrong decision. And Alok is just getting way too early there. It's just really sad to see. Curly is just slowly peeking. Real good attempt, but not fast enough. If they got armor on the point there, this would have probably continued to be at least a force. If not just like straight exchange in like a few seconds after they got the force to just kill things with the rest of Libra. So good attempt by Ascent, but not quite enough. Means not yet falling apart. Here we go, new attempt, gun is being built, Heavy just moved back, Pyro's up to try to protect seeds. Drag does his thing while Curly wants to get on the point. Not amazingly timed, and Alaku also gets just dead on. That's 2 down. Kadu is knowingly under the point. Kinda just has to not die right now, but it's kinda difficult if everybody knows where you are. Alaku is the one that couldn't afford to die here. In general, as the third player that went down in this sack attempt, and as the demo man specifically. I can understand why he wanted to, you know, get damage in, but just the worst position to die in. Anyway, Kradu's back up sniper. And finally got out of last. And for as much time as we spent on last with even Ubers, it's really not comparable to Process. This Ascent is definitely doing more stuff trying to get in. But so far, Fane's hold is doing good enough of a job. There we go, that's the first pick. Corbic peeks the shot at on, just dies. Ham's a drag it behind. Seems to see decide to take the exchange here. And complies. Could have went weak, so he's not really with any of that, but he's just a sniper, so what's he gonna do? Have a sideline on Uber people here right now. Not really worth it too much. Anyway, there's still people behind. Sure, they know that, but they also already won down. And that's the Kuno getting deleted. The Drag's doing his job. Everybody commits with that, because right now there's just prime opportunity. There's 2 down. This is basically your time to do it. Drag deletes everyone. I'm sure. So this is just prime time right now. going for the exchange just fucked Feint over even more than if they didn't do it. Because they effectively gave Ascent an exchange they kinda wanted to begin with.
Time has been
She proudly told everybody about the Highlander game. What do you mean probably? You told us all of us that you played with Connor. Stop lying. Anyway, Drag wants to get on the point, dies to callback. Doesn't matter, they have advantage. Just brute force their way in eventually. Just play of that. It goes weak. Most people try to rotate away from. He drops so many people in this. But it goes down. Sill's trying to play the point. Nobody's touching the point. Okay, that's the second round on the board. So far, Ascent's definitely playing better. I mean, you were on process, but not by this amount. And they were just continuously stuck on last for like the longest time as well, which playing better on in that position doesn't like, get you anywhere. Anyway, again, Soldier's attempt to go fast. And Sill baits people. Gets Seed stuck in Death Corner, but he also beats Rockets, so might just not mean anything. Sticky is enough to scare everybody, and it's understandable enough, because they're already weak to begin with. There we go, Eliko's just farming people. And Sill beefed like 2 Rockets and he's still gonna get this. That's how much they played them there. So yeah, the initial jump by Drag into Elbow just completely screwed over the positioning. And Sill had like way too much time to get that. With Eliko obviously helping that out as well, and everybody else just had to scare people away from corner and deal some general damage, I guess. And so that was another just really good mid. That's just 2 mids where they just completely outplayed Feint. First one and this one. Alright, we went from Shudder, Pyro can't deny much. Just sad times all around. Alright, now you need to A, get something onto Eames, B, not have them leave spawn for completely free. And then you have happy times. So Eames is getting flash over the ring. Doesn't matter, Uber doesn't last long enough, Eames deads on him. Our people are still in spawn. So what you want is just a lot of damage. Pyro's there to be annoying, but that's just so much you can do. Eames doesn't have sticks, so the second jump by Drag just goes straight onto the Demoman. Because you really want him to die. Sill's trying his hardest to do stuff there. Can't do too much, but they get Eames, and everybody took way too long to get out of spawn, so there you go. Good push. All around. Like, it was good enough to work despite losing 2. So that's how you know that that was really good. Also, the pause happened on the cast, obviously, like 1.5 minutes earlier than this. And I just fucking call it that it's gonna be like a 90-second round. And the pause is gonna be by the end of the round when Ascent caps and they just fucking call it. But yeah, really good last push. They knew exactly what they wanted to do there. And it didn't matter that they lost players because they executed it well. And that's basically how you push Kali last with the position they had to deal with on Feint. Anyway, callback does callback things and dies. This looked like they wanted to go enemy side. Either that or they just like weren't really taken by surprise by the fact that the jump came in. Either way, they played the passive enough for the jump to not do anything. Feint has to play with 1 down from the start. Drag has a big jump, Elako tries to cross over to get some damage, still comes in as well. Elako almost dies, Drag can still most certainly will. If they don't, then there has to be a good rocket involved in that, but they still both die. They exchange some kills, but they started on -1 pretty much immediately on Feint. So trading is still in their favor, or Ascent in this case. So it's perfectly acceptable. And if only your soldiers die on a mid-fight, then
Time has been added.
you did your job well on the mid-fight.
Our control point is being captured.
And besides Elako almost, nobody like committed to stuff they shouldn't. Elako backed off fast enough that could have still killed him easily, not gonna die, but he didn't, so that's all that matters. And the damage by the soldiers was just good all around, even though they clearly went in with the mission to die there. Anyway, Feint is just feeding. This is really sad. Still, doesn't even need to try there, and still almost gets it. Anyway, everybody feeds as well at the same time. Just sticky traps. So speaking of sad times, there's some more of this here. That was such a free, like anything,
The control point is being
for Ascent. And then it still works in the end because nobody checks. I don't even know where Kodu came from, to be honest. But neither did Feint, so that's all that matters. So I stand by my statement, that was like a free anything they wanted it to be. And apparently it's a backup in the end. Although they did feed really hard, but it also baited Feint really hard on top of that. So I guess that's one way to do it. Anyway, Drag goes behind, Sil is just flying around again. And I heard in the post-game interview that Sil went on to call for this game, which, given the urban legend that he doesn't do Scully, certainly proves right at this point. Anyway, he dies for this jump, deals quite a bit of damage. Slows things down for Drag, they still spot it though. So that's a -2 pretty quickly here. And what I said about only these soldiers dying on mid being good only holds true if you still win the mid fight. Because if you just end up leaving because your soldiers died, then it's not really worth anything, is it now? Anyway, once amped, Kodu dies as well. And catching a bit of a break here.
alert. The control point is
Half
being
time on the
captured.
map. But already match point on the scoreline. Yeah, it's tough right now.
Time has been added.
Yeah, they know it's even. Like, how can you not? It takes so long to decide what they want to do there. Drag threatens them back a bit as well, so they whatever they wanted to do, they just can't anymore. Which is nice times for Feint, or for Ascent even. Building a gun, having a sentry up. Is just nice safety all around. With a 4-0 scoreline, you really don't want to have to hold last forever. But after process, I wouldn't be surprised if they would do it if they needed to. But then Kredu is just Kredu, so, you know. That happens. Nobody was, like, standing close to even spot the sniper in the first place. But he was just really scared of something.
Control point is being contested.
But not the sniper. And they all back off, nobody even tries to force, really. It's a free take for Ascent.
Has been added.
Let's see. Kratos is back spawned in the meantime. Just scout again. Which is reasonable.
Our control point is being captured. Alert.
I mean, people try to mildly contest this, but can't really. Lucky nobody dies yet. Callback will commit, but he also gets spotted immediately. And without any backup. That doesn't go anywhere. If they're really brave, they would have double sacked from Big Door. Or like callback under the point and somebody from Big Door. But how would they know Connor would go there? So,
The control point is being captured.
would have been hugely risky. Anyway, Feint decides to come from top. Well, they mostly get forced more than anything. They wanted to take this fight. But soldiers flying high made things slow down tremendously. point where they just can't reach corner with the U anymore. Gonna use this a bit early because he took damage, but it's still like really decent opportunity to just go for anything. No setup or anything. Demo's down, so you can just play the point, and it's honestly all you need right now. That and like sticks all over the place. Because you can't expect to catch anything with an Uber that the other team will just dodge and spawn. So Korbeck is the target here. Where's the soldiers? There's one. So yeah, both sides are getting attempted to get denied. Lots of damage all around, doesn't matter, Korbeck doesn't reach the point in time again. Even if it did, would have still been sketchy. But there we go, 5-0. And I kinda saw that coming, like, both results. I mean, I saw an opportunity for Feint to take Process, to be honest. But I expected it to be really, really slow. Like, deliberately slow by Feint. But they just didn't use the opportunities, and they had at least a few, not plenty. That's being generous. But they had some opportunities to actually make stuff happen. Same with Ascent, obviously. But neither of the teams could really convert of them. But Feint was just in a better position the most entire game. So it was their game to lose, and they did. Because when they weren't in control, Ascent played better. And that showed in the golden cap. And I expected Gully to be a much more one-sided affair from what I've seen from both teams on Gully. So that isn't necessarily surprising. How late is it? 6. Okay. I think I'm calling it a day for now. I mean, I'm casting low in like 2 hours. The low grand finals. Which is nice because it's at 8, so I'm done casting earlier, unless it goes to like 3 maps with like 20-minute golden caps all around. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But yeah. Should be fun, and I still have a bunch of ESEA games to go through. Playoffs started as well, so I want to watch that, even if some games might not be the closest, but hey, what can you do? So we'll see. See you at 8 on TFTV 2, I think, because 1 is, even if it's happening like an hour later, that has the Div 1 Grand Finals. Who cares what the Div 1 Grand Finals if you can watch low instead? An hour earlier.